Today we are going to talk about the 7 great powers of Mushoku Tensei. Basically, the 7 great powers refers to the 7 most powerful warriors in the entire world of Mushoku, being the pinnacle of power in the world. Originally, they are 7 selected individuals who became well known by the end of the Second Human-Demon War. The title of the 7 great powers was very known until the Laplace War, where all 7 original powers participated in this war directly or indirectly, with the exception of the Technique God, who was the only one to stay out. Among them, 3 were killed, 1 was reported missing, and another was sealed somewhere in this world, with the Dragon God being the only one who came out of war with the status of alive confirmed by people. However, even though all 7 are the most powerful, there was a ranking division among them. The first 4 ranks are called superior ranks, and the remaining 3 ranks are called inferior ranks. And of course, there is a clear and significant difference in the strength of those in the superior and inferior ranks. The best example would be the 4th place, the Demon God Laplace, and the 5th place, the Death God, with a cousin of strength between the 2 of them. So let's talk about some important things about each of the 7 great powers today. But before that, subscribe to the channel to support my work and leave a like to support the video. In 7th place, we have Alexander Ryback, who is currently the North God of the North God Sword style. Alex is a determined person, and because of the way he was raised and grew up, he is obsessed with the idea of becoming a hero and surpassing his father. So in order to achieve his goal, he did everything in his power to gain fame among the public and be known by people. Initially, he worked as one of Geese's associates to destroy the Superdia tribe and kill Orsted, with the goal of earning the title of hero by doing such things. However, he didn't care much or at all about the circumstances of Superdia's and Hitogami's scheme. He was only interested in the fame that would come with his title of hero. But Rudels and his company managed to defeat him after an intense battle, where he was considered dead for a while. However, as a descendant of Atophy, it only took a little time for him to start regenerating his body. After all, he has his immortality ability. But after that, he was still defeated by Orsted in a battle that wasn't even a fight, was just a beating, where Orsted literally destroyed him. And in this battle, or beating in this case, he ended up losing both of his arms, which later resulted in him becoming another subordinate of Orsted and a member of Orsted Corporation. And in Orsted's knowledge of the original history, Alex would have fallen into despair after losing to Xenobrits, taking then a child with no talent as his disciple. But by watching the child grow up while correcting herself, Alex finally met Red and became a true North God. And later, in the Second Laplace War, Alex would prove himself to be the most powerful North God on the history. Now, moving forward, we have the Sword God Galfarion in the 6th place on this list. He trained honestly and never made compromises to become stronger. He assessed that, to become strong, one must use rational methods and not stray from the path. These methods are what he teaches to his students in his training dojo. He is considered to be the fastest of his generation, where not even the water goddess Hita can withstand his attacks. In the past, when he was still a sword saint, he challenged Orsted to a battle. Naturally, he lost this fight, but he survived with his 4 limbs intact, which is a miracle. After that, he decided to train himself from the beginning again, thus achieving the title of Sword God. Gal is considered the strongest in the Sword God style since he held the God rank until Xenobrits defeated him. Gal wields an extremely fast sword and was recognized by the water goddess Hita as the only man whose sword she couldn't stop, and he is so fast that his speed was only surpassed by Xenobrits in the future. He knows all the techniques of Sword God, but also of the Water God, adapting and using them. Now, in 5th place, we have the Death God Randolph Marianne. Randolph used to be someone thirsty for battles, but after numerous fights, he got tired of it all, so he retired from batting and now enjoys cooking, even though he wasn't very good at it in first place. Basically, he wanders around yawning, not bothered by anything, even during troubled times. Randolph is generally a pacifist pacifist, but of course he doesn't mind killing anyone that he is ordered to kill or that to defend himself as well. After retiring, he returned to his homeland and started working as a chef and restaurant owner, but soon the restaurant went bankrupt, leaving him with a huge debt. With no options, he started working in the Dragon King Kingdom as a knight to pay off his debt, but later he was ordered to be Pax's escort and served as Pax's personal bodyguard since then. And a curious fact, Rudolph and Zanoba mistakenly identified him as an apostle of Hitogami, but later is revealed that he only tried to help Pax, as Pax and his queen were the only people who praised his cooking, so he loved to cook for them. Then, after Pax's self-inflicted death, Randolph became determined to protect Queen Benedict and Pax's children, to teach him swordsmanship and butchering skills. In terms of abilities, Randolph is extremely talented. His unique ability is called Enchanting Sword, a fencing style that deceives his opponent and creates openings during the combat. He also trained in the North God style up to Emperor rank, being talented enough to be one of the candidates for the North God rank. Additionally, he also possesses a demon eye that creates an impenetrable barrier around him. Now, in the fourth place, we have Laplace, the demon god. Laplace is known as the demon god, a title given to the most powerful demon. 500 years ago, he declared war against the humans, and then was sealed by the 7 heroes. But in reality, there would be 2 Laplaces, the demon god Laplace and the technique god Laplace. The two were originally one entity, but ended up splitting in 2 while fighting against the fight god. Before being divided into 2 beings, Laplace was considered the most powerful entity in the world, being one of the 5 dragon generals. In his case, he was the Dragon Demon King. He had an immense physical strength, night vision, and a demon eye that allowed him to track and sense enemies. But after he was split in 2, his powers and personality were also divided, so the technique god Laplace retained his draconic power and knew various techniques of the world to try to fight against Hitogami. He also is the one who created the system of the 7 great powers, but he lost part of his memories, only retaining his goal of ending Hitogami. Thus, he is also the one that taught those who call themselves Dragon God about his techniques, so basically all the Dragon Gods were trained by Laplace. But he also lost all his magical powers, making him incapable of using magic. On the other hand, his other half, the Demon God Laplace, possessed an immense magical power and was a master of all magic. He also lost his memories of being the Dragon Demon King Laplace, only remembering his immense hatred for the humans, and then, because of it, he led all the demons to start a war against the humanity. Additionally, he lost all of his draconic power, which made him incapable of using Battle Aura, and although he couldn't use Aura, he was still so strong that he was able to kill 4 of the 7 heroes who led the humans in the Laplace War, with the remaining 3 of them being unable to kill him, so they had to seal him to finally stop the war. Moving on, in 3rd place, we have the Demon Lord and Fighting God Badigadi. 4,200 years ago, he became the Fighting God, which is the 3rd place in the ranking of the 7 great powers, by wearing the Fighting God armor to protect his fiancée at Hitogami's suggestion. Essentially, Badigadi is a very old person, older than the Laplace War, making him one of the oldest characters in the entire series. To protect Kishirika, Badigadi was deceived by Hitogami into stealing the golden armor, thus becoming the Fighting God. Then he fought and split the Dragon Demon King, that yes was Laplace. Of course, without the Fighting God armor, he would never been able to do this, but with the golden armor, he was powerful enough to split Laplace. But basically Badigadi is not strong enough to be here, and yet is the golden armor that made him to the list. Now, moving beyond him, we have the Dragon God Orsted in 2nd place in this ranking. Orsted was born a long time ago in the Dragon World in the City of Chaos. He is the result of the union between his father, the first Dragon God, and his mother, Lunaria, who is the daughter of the first human god. But at that time, after Orsted's birth, the world was thrown in chaos with a massive war caused by Hitogami. In the end, all the gods died, with them Orsted's father, the first Dragon God, with Hitogami being the only one god to remain alive. But before his death, the first dragon god made an alternative plan. He used his powers to imbue Orsted with 2 divine gems, and then send him to the future of the human world, with the mission of killing Hitogami if he had failed, along with the power to remain hidden from Hitogami. So when Orsted awoke in the future, he was easily able to become the second ranked among the 7 great powers. He is the son of the first dragon god and the son of the daughter of human god. He is the one who have 2 divine gems in his body. He is the last hope of the dragons. His techniques are believed to be the most powerful among the 7 powers, as the technique god Laplace is considered missing and no one knows where he is. So basically Orsted is the ultimate weapon to kill Hitogami. And so after him, the technique god Laplace is the one ranked in the first place among the 7 powers. But since he's missing, Orsted can be considered the most powerful among the 7 powers. But this is not the end, as several positions have changed and new characters have replaced the old powers. Let's start by talking about Sigeheart Saladin Greyheart, the son of Rudos and Sylphie. He became the successor to Handolf, the Death God, ranking in 5th among the 7 powers. Sigeheart grew up admiring the superheroes from the histories of Rudeus, and thus aspired to become one himself. I won't talk too much about him since this is a major spoiler, but Sigeheart is extremely strong and skilled, and as a descendant of Rudeus, he is also special. Next we have Gino Britz, who became the sword god after defeating Galfarion to ask for Nina's hand in marriage. Gino is the most brilliant talent of the sword god style, becoming a sword saint at the age of 12. His family is also a branch of the sword god family, with his mother being Galfarion's young sister, so basically he is the nephew of Galfarion. And even being a genius, like all of the others, Gino always held Galfarion in the right respect, but he still had to defeat him in order to marry Nina. And lastly, after Gino we have our boy Rudeus. Rudeus fought and defeated Kalman, who was ranked 7th. As a result of defeating him, Rudeus earned his position among the 7 great powers, but instead of becoming the North God, he became known as the Quagmire Rudeus, since he isn't a practitioner of the North God style, the only one among the 7 powers without the title of the god. Yes, even his son have the title of a god, being the Death God, but Rudeus is just Quagmire Rudeus. But that is it about the 7 great powers, and I hope you enjoy it. If you like it, please support by leaving your like and subscribe to the channel to support my work. Comment below what you thought, and now bye bye.